Good morning, everyone. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Let's connect quickly so that we can initiate today item. So, good morning, Deepak. Deepak, can you ask team to join quickly? So, today, most of the dynamic CRM developers know how to customize forms and plugins, but very few candidates understand how enterprise companies actually deploy CRM solution safely to the productions. That's why exactly why many developers struggle during interview and real time projects. Today I will show you to complete Dataverse solution and ALM strategy used in real enterprise implementations, including managed versus unmanaged solution, deployment pipelines, and environment strategy, solutioning layering, Azure DevOps integration, and production release management. What is release management and how it's work? If you want to become a strong dynamic CRM developers, technical consultant, or solution architect, this session is exactly important for your career growth. By the end of this session, you will understand how professional CRM teams manage deployments across dev, test, UAT, and prod environment confidently. So, be ready for today's session and let's connect quickly. Meantime, can you ask quickly so that we can initiate today's session and we can work together? Meantime, do you have anything to discuss based on our previous discussion, previous understanding, whatever we have so far? Meantime, let me open CRM environment. Hey, where are others? Can you join quickly? Meantime, I will be back in 30 seconds. 1 minute. Meanwhile, can you ask others to join quickly? Okay. So let me share my screen so that we can initiate. So anything we need to take care. Where are others? Pulkit and Shiv already joined. I'm not able to see money now in a day. Where are some candidates where they join regularly. Okay, let me share my screen so that we can initiate this particular session. Okay, so today our agenda here is, let's initiate that one. This is our next module, module 11, right? So I hope now in a day you understand the solution management and ALM. What is ALM here? You understand or not? Application Lifecycle Management. Application Lifecycle Management, or what we can say, how to develop our applications so that we can develop that one. So our here it is not like we have to develop this particular package and we have to move into to our environment. So we will understand how we are doing. So let me open one Excel sheet once. So it is not like we have to develop our application. We if we have initiated any task, till the time it is not moved into production, it will not considered as closed or completed. So some candidate or some developers are thinking like, suppose we have a requirement related to one task where we need to change something. It could be related to the form level change, it could be related to the business rule related change, javascript, html, css, plugin, power automate, anything, it could be anything. So they are thinking like, if we have implemented that one, that is the task that we have closed. So if we have completed that task, it means we have completed our development task. So we have certain different activity. Certain different activity means we have to develop something, then we have to do the QA level testing or that owner level testing. Then we have to deploy into in different environment. Why different environment are needed? By I will tell you in details, in very detail. So we may have dev environment. This is very important part, you should understand. Dev environment may be based on the environment to environment, they may maintain their QA environment, that is a separate box. Dev environment, QA environment, UAT environment. Sometimes some of the big organization they are maintaining at pre-prod environment and prod. Prod means you understand production environment. That is the production environment where our all the end user they are utilizing this environment. These are the environment. These are the environment where we have to maintain our for our ALM process. What are our ALM process like? How we are developing something. So suppose here this is our dev box. Dev box means where our complete development team are developing our different user story or task. Multiple developers we may have. So this is our dev environment. So why dev are required and why QA are required here? Any idea why we have to not utilize dev environment and then move into the production? Because dev environment is not completely stable condition. Different developers, multiple developers, they may develop our and different user story. Suppose I will tell you one more process like the ALM process, how we have to utilize, or which particular methodology we are going to utilize here. Methodology means we have different models here. How we have to use, which particular model we have to use to develop our application. So we may have waterfall model, we may have uh, that scrum model here. So I will give you one dedicated session related to those models, how we are utilizing. But on high level, you should understand this is the box. This is especially for developer. That is the truth of source. Like everything we are utilizing here in dev environment. Once we developed one component, anything, we have to move into QA environment. Why QA environment? So that you can develop your features, you can move into QA. Here this QA environment is for QA team. So I will tell you different teams which you should understand here. One is dev team, another one is QA team, one more team is BA or business analyst team, and we may have, this is sufficient team, but we may, one more team we may have as product owner or feature owner. And some of the organization they may utilize our deployment team. Here sometimes product team, or maybe here stakeholder team they may maintain here, but those are the similar name. So what is the meaning of those team, and what is the responsibility or for those different team here? So even if we have to classify dev team may have different skill set. Different skill set means they may have different skill set in terms of they could be pure CRM based developers. The other person they may have UI or UX designer. Maybe we may have ETL team members who know the integration part, who know the data migration part, and maybe integration team also we may have. Integration team or API team, we can say. These are the categorization for big organization. They are maintaining those teams as in those category. But for a small base organization, everything one person or developers team need to understand those particular development skills. They don't have that much capability, like they may maintain the different skill set team members, and they have to perform based on the different requirement. So UX designer means whatever UI we may have, they are responsibility to design something. Suppose if we have a requirement here, we have to change some different UI in terms of our customization. So what initially they will do, they will create a UI, an HTML or that designing part, and maybe they can provide you different HTML and CSS so that development team can design that part. So ETL team is responsibility, like suppose if they need to migrate some data from one environment to another environment, they need to do some integration with the help of any third party tools. Third party tools like for ETL team they may use Scribe, online, Kingspace of SSIS package. They can define here based on the project need. Integration or API team. So if there are some integration between one CRM application to another system, so we need to develop some API. So API teams comes into the picture related to this particular section. Dev team. I hope you understand related to those keywords. You should know at least what is the use or what is the benefit of those particular keywords. Then QA teams comes into the picture. QA team means they have to do quality analysis. So no, it is not like in dev team only. In any here software development, the QA teams comes into the picture. There might be some another industry also. QA team also comes into the picture. It could be manufacturing side, it could be any pharma side. So QA team responsibility. So whatever with the product quality, whatever our production team or development team they are doing, they need to ensure like whatever the need or whatever the requirement is there, it should be go properly. So in terms of our development cycle, they need to do proper testing so that it should not fail in positive scenario or negative scenario. So we may have different types of QA team. One, we can categorize QA team in different teams also, like manual tester. This is very basic information that I'm sharing with you. Maybe most of the team member know, but some of the team members who are planning to move into dynamic CRM or any development software development life cycle, so they said though they should understand that those terminology. Manual tester here, manual tester also, uh, some of the developer they are telling, hey, we are a manual tester only and we have to do the manual testing. It is could be either positive or real time scenario, whatever mentioned in the user story, the positive scenario and the negative scenario. Negative scenario is, positive and negative scenario is, I will tell you, there is a one form where user need to enter here name, address, mobile number, and here suppose email ID. So they need to test here. So here positive scenario here is they can enter Sunil Kumar. They can enter here Delhi. They can enter here suppose this is the number, proper number, and then they someone can enter proper email ID here. So this is the happy path. Happy path means whatever user is able to enter if they are try to save their record in normal case, normal condition. So that is the happy path that we can say. And what is the happy path or positive path? What is the negative scenario here? Here they are entering name as, they can like we may have huge number, so they try to keep entering here, see here, and they try to enter like anything. Here they are telling, hey, we are trying to add anything here. So they just try to keep entering the value here. So they are saying, hey, if we try to add more than here 500 character in the name field, our program is failing. And so developers say, hey, we have set this first name as only 200 character or 150 character, why you are entering the 500 character here? Then they will say, why you are allowing to enter more than 150 character if that is the limit? You can set the limit to 150 character only. User should not enter more than 150 character if you have set it 150 character in the backend. So then developers say, oh, got it. I will take care of that requirement. So that is the negative testing. So positive scenario maybe pass, sometimes negative scenario we have to handle it. So those scenario we have to handle as part of development team and QA team. Here email id, if we are entering here proper email id, suppose if someone is try to enter something like they are not entering proper email id here, but anyhow it is accepting, that is also we need to take care as part of our negative testing. So that is the manual testing. Here there are some automation tool also available here. So Selenium is there, another other tools are also there, and even the load testing also there. So suppose this particular, if we are entering this information, maybe normal condition, it is accepting. Even the negative testing also we have performed, that is also working. Developers also take care. But whenever we are testing this one as a load testing, performance testing, when we are telling, so if we are entering those data as a bulk request, so maybe our software is accepting this particular request, 500 record per second. So our application is accepting. But if developers try to increase that 500 request per second more than to 5000 per second, so our application is not control that request. Maybe we have to do parallel threading, parallel processing, whatever you have to do, but it is not accepting. So they may raise a bug. Your application is working fine if we are entering bulk data till 1000 record per second or maybe per minute. So that level of requirement, if developers or QA team they can enter, they can raise a bug. We have to do the proper testing during those scenarios. So there are many event tools they have to do. They can write a script, they can make a loop, and they can try to test your application with bulk data. That is also called performance testing. So we can tell here performance testing also to automation testing. Now in a day it is very famous keyword, like many developers, if they are they don't want to become their career in a developers domain, so they are moving into the testing team also. How to test this particular scenario, how to give a test result scenario also, they are sharing that information. That is also a separate here model. Now BAT, what is BA team here? BA team comes into the pictures. BA means business analyst. Business analyst means whatever, there are some person. BA may be functional consultant. What is the functional consultant here? So the consultant or a person who know the CRM functionality in terms of the features wise, the capability of the applications. They know the dynamic CRM capability here, and they can understand what types of capability we can achieve with the help of this CRM application. So Microsoft is exposing these many requirements, those many items, those many requirement is already or available as the out of the box features. So they are discussing their requirement or requirement from the product owner team. What is the meaning of product owner? Suppose there are many persons who are working on a application, so they have defined some responsibility. So responsibility means there are suppose in CRM application is responsible for they are one organization. They have enabled or they are working on the sales modules, and they are working on the marketing modules, and they are working on the service modules. So what happened? They have maintained three different product owner. Like suppose Rohan, Mohan, Yogendra. So suppose anything related to sales modules enhancement. So there is a product owner is Rohan. Any related to these marketing modules, the contact person is Mohan. Service modules is handling Yogendra. So what happened as a product owner? It is not like product or our business analyst team need to connect with any users. Any users means in sales team we may have 500 users, in marketing we may have 300 users, and in the service modules we may have 600 users. So it is not like our business analyst they need to contact or they need to take requirement from everyone. So they weekly basis or monthly basis or whatever the here the requirement here is, they are continuously connecting with the product owner Rohan, Mohan, or Yogendra. So they are connecting with them and they are taking the requirement like, hey, what is your feedback? Like, do you have anything which we need to add into the system based on your team feedback? So Rohan, Mohan, and Yogendra, they are connecting with their team members and they are getting the feedback. And based on the criticality, one person in their team, one person is saying, hey, we need some additional here field information here. As of now they are accepting name as a 150 character, name as 150 character. There is one example. So one person is telling like, hey, we are receiving or we are retrieving or we are getting sometimes this requirement name requirement as 150, sometimes 155, 170 sometimes. So it's very difficult to enter those information. So we need to increase this particular one tax value to 150 to 200. So it is not like we have to connect, our BA team need to connect each and every individual users. So they are connecting to the responsible product owner and they are taking feedback or requirement from them only. Once they approve, like product owner approved only. So they are thinking, hey, okay, that's fine. We need to make this 150 field to 200 character. So they are sharing that information to our business analyst team. Then we are creating a user story and we are proceeding based on the criticality. So our business team need to take care or need to take requirement from the product owner and they are asking to proceed further. So product owner are those person who is responsible to the actual end user applications so that we can deliver properly. So business team members, what they are doing, business analyst, so they are taking the requirement, they are writing that user story into the board, and they are properly proceeding further. And then they, after doing this particular business analyst team testing, BA team also need to verify those user story, like whatever they are expecting, whatever they have written that one, either this functionality is working fine or not. If business analyst also close that requirement, then it's moved into the product owner approval also. Then business analyst team, hey, we have implemented this one into QA side. Can you check either this is sufficient or not? I have given this is very simple or plain requirement, straightforward requirement. There might be some complex requirement also, which we need to deliver in this particular process only. Development team need to verify or add or complete and verify Then QA need to verify, they need to do manual testing and uh, positive testing, negative testing, automation testing, whatever they have to do, they have to perform their testing based on their acceptance criteria. Then business analyst team need also verify that requirement. If they identify like this particular requirement is not working or whatever, they want to implement something, this is not up to mark, so they may reopen that user story, or they can ask development team to fill that particular gap, and then maybe they can close that user story. Once they close that user story, product owner need to verify, validate, then assign back to product owner. Once product owner verify that one, so then if it is they are okay to move further, or maybe they can identify some another scenario or another items, like, hey, now we have one more idea, we have to implement this idea also before moving into production environment. If it is closed, like if it is closed, then it's ready for deployment. Dev team develop, deploy into QA, QA team verified, closed. Then BA team, business analyst team need to validate, and then product owner need to close and verify it. Then it's ready for deployment. So that is the complete ALM process. But it is not like if we have closed one user story, we can directly deploy it into the production deployment. So based on some interval means they have fixed release date. Like every 15 days, we need to deploy into prod. So if we need to deploy into prod into every 15 days, it means whatever user story or whatever task our team has closed during this particular duration. For example, starting from 1st to 15th, whatever they have closed, we have to deploy into production. That is our target here. Now, if we have closed our suppose they have closed their uh, 20 item 20 items in 15 days, so then we have to decide. We means product owner need to decide, product owner and business analyst need to decide, and need to create a release list. You have to remember these items, this keyword, release list or release items. What is the meaning of this release list or release items? So out of 20 item, if they want to add something or remove something, what it what is the meaning of add something or remove something? 20 item are closed, they can directly move into the production. What is the blocker for that one? So I will tell you. They have one features. Features means one big items they have. They have to implement something, like there are some items we have to deploy. We have to integrate with some another application. So there might be some dependent items which we need to close. Then only we have to move those items into the production. It is not like we can deploy something half cooked. Half cooked means whatever, suppose if I have a release, I have a complete epic means a big user story which contains maybe 15 items. So till the times one associated complete 15 items are not closed, we cannot move those items. So in 20 items, we may have 10 items related to that particular item, but 5 items still in progress or in QA state or in different state. We cannot move those items. So we have to create a release list which we or product owner need to confirm like those items we can move into the production based on the release item. Suppose we have received release items as 12 item. 12 item means maybe we may have some items which are developed in previous items or release. We have to add those two items, and also we have to add 10 items into the current 20 items release. So we have received 20 item release items into current release items. So based on those release items, 12 items, we have to deploy into the production. So what we have to do? So those items we have developed or we have tested in QA item. So then we have to create a release list which we have to deploy it into UAT. If we have release list 20 release 12 release list items which we need to deploy into pre-prod and production. So once we got the release list, we can create a here solution which we need to deploy into UAT. UAT means user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing, like those 12 items, if we are deploying into UAT, it should not break our production or our features or our the flow, complete flow. So they are deploying those 12 items into the UAT environment, and then they have to do regression testing. So there is a keyword name regression. What is the regression testing? Suppose we have added one field into uh, this lead name, and we have increased that one. So it should not create any impact in other functionality. Suppose we have developed one plugin which is responsible to perform some action inside lead entity. So if we are performing that action, it should not break any existing functionality. So they are doing complete regression testing in UAT. Who? QA team. Once QA team run that regression testing in UAT, and if they have identified some flow like in current release, due to this current release we are getting some issue, it could be possibility like those items, those bug which they have logged, those might be related to their existing features, or their those might be available in production, or those might be due to these release items. So once we deploy into UAT, we have to fix that those release items which we have to deploy into pre-production and production. And then if those items are closed by QA, closed means if they have provided a sign off like those items are good, then teams also need to give the proper sign off. Sign off means they are okay to release those items into the production. Then product owner also need to verify those items. Then we have to deploy into pre-prod if we have identified, like, because why pre-prod are needed here, why they are maintaining a pre-prod. Pre-prod looks like similar items, similar environment we have, whatever we have in the production environment. So why they have to maintain a pre-prod? It is taking more time even for this ALM process. If we have to deploy that item, it is taking huge time. Why we have to maintain all those process? We can save lot more time. Even if we have to, okay, they have to do the testing, they can do testing, complete testing in QA, and then they can directly deploy into the production. What is the blocking here? Why they additionally added UAT? Then they have to do regression testing, and then QA or then BA team need to do the complete testing, and then product owner also need to verify. Why this so many process they have to follow? Because this is very big product. Maybe there might be some possibility big organization they are utilizing their big process. If there is something breaking in the production after our production deployment, so there might be more expensive items which may we lose if we are deploying some half code or some problematic solution into the production. So they have created different process so that we should not deploy any item which may create issue in the production. So all those process are here. That's why they have created multiple process, multiple checklist items, multiple verification process, so that if we have deployed something, it should not create any impact into the production. So that is the purpose of this complete ALM process. Why? So that we can reduce the error in the production. So there might be multiple questions here, interview questions here. So what types of ALM process you are following or your company are following? Why you are following different multiple process? Can you suggest like how to save your time so that we can optimize the deployment process? Why you follow all those process? Even if we can reduce some process, we can save our deployment and development process. One person can tell, hey, this particular item may be developed in 2 hours. What about all those process? Where we need to capture those items? Like if you are telling, hey, I can create one items, one here, one field, I can increase this particular field 150 to 200 within 5 minutes. Why you are taking here 1 day hour? Because to perform this particular activity, we have to maintain this ALM process time also, if we have to give any estimation. There might be some hide and sew rule also. We can do the development only within 1 hour. With the help of any AI agent, we can reduce our development time. Then why we have to maintain more time for in the FRC? Because we need to involve, we need to include ALM process activity time also. Hope you understand this particular process. Dev, QA, UAT, pre-prod, and the production environment. Pre-prod and production are, equivalent environment, so that we can test the exact behavior whatever our production environment is having. Why we are validating the production equivalent environment here? It will also, if suppose if we have in production environment we have 200 GB space. So if and even if we have to maintain the 200 GB also in pre-prod, so there might be some additional cost related to the production and pre-prod environment. Why we have to maintain all those here costing? Because we know, we already discussed, we multiple time discussed, like 1 GB cost per month per here tenant they are charging. But anyhow, companies are if they have to bear this amount, so but they don't want to include any additional bug here, so they have to bear this amount. In UAT, till UAT maybe they may contain 10 GB of space, here maybe for 5 GB space, here maybe for suppose 3 GB of space they may maintain here, because they are not maintaining here more data, much data. QA also the same thing. But we should have production equivalent environment so that we can check those data here without without moving into the production. We should test this particular environment in pre-prod so that we can validate if something is blocking into the production. Hope you understand. Hope you clear this requirement. Fake CRM is, you understand XRM toolbox, XRM. So fake CRM is a tool where you can create some, test case, test scenario, unit test, and you can validate those particular data, right? So that is the one. Hope it's clear. So if you have anything, if you have any problem, let's discuss. Otherwise, we can connect tomorrow. I have to jump into another call, and you can raise your question. You can write your question here, and then we can proceed further from tomorrow. Hope you understand. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thank you.